you've been with me so far, you're following the chaos. A 5-hour trip turned into 17 hours, my flight get cancelled, miscommunication, and I had some miracles here and there. So this is the final part of that travel saga. So I standing up by the Spirit Airlines counter and I just waiting for them to sort themselves out to tell me that I could get on the flight. Eventually the agent come up to me and say, all right, you could take this flight. Now listen, I moved so fast because I didn't want to hear nobody telling me, no, you can't go on this flight. So I went on the flight and I sit down and I'm feeling relieved and relaxed. And I say, all right, I'm heading back to the US. But then something started inky in the back of my head. So I watch the time, I look at the mat, I watch my time and I do the math. And I say, wait now, no. I will miss my second connecting flight. The same flight that I went through all this trouble to try to meet. I ain't gonna make it. Well, I just sit down and I say to myself, Lord, how I going to explain this story? How was I going to explain this to Custom and Border Protection? How was I going to tell them that I coming into your country with no confirmed flight and my visa going to expire in a few days? How I going to tell them that? The thing is, I don't want nobody feel like I want to come in the country and overstay their welcome. So now I starting to panic. So as we come off the plane and we walking up to CBP now, I'm a little anxious, I'm real anxious. But I just pray hard, please, let them believe my story. So the officer, walk up to the officer and the officer doing the thing. And then she look at me, she look at my photo. She look at me, she look at the photo. And she was like, you lose weight? And I was like, yeah. Because, let me be honest, the picture on my visa was me at 225 pounds. But what she was looking at in person was somebody weighing 150 pounds. Pressure. So she's like, where's your secret? So I tell her, well, back then, I did a plant-based diet, exercise, and so forth. And she was like, little impressed. But then the question came, your visa about to expire? I said, well, yeah, it is. That's why I come back into the country now, because I just come to get my flight to leave. She watched me. She said, all right, ma'am, go ahead, enjoy your trip. And I was so happy. So you go, I walk out of there so quick, right? And then I go in for my luggage. But by this time now, it's night time. So I run to the next airline where I was supposed to get the connecting flights. But the staff was already closing down. But I run up to them and I tell them the situation and what had happened. And they said, but hold on, we don't have a record of you checking in. I said, yeah, I missed the flight because of the storm, but my friend called y'all and I know for a fact she called y'all 4 times and told y'all why I was a no-show. And they were like, what? So they looked again. They said, no, we don't have no record of you calling in. So then I said, no, she called. And they were like, wait, how you book your flights? And I said, well, I booked it on the third-party platform. I didn't buy my ticket directly from the airline. I bought it from one of them third-party platforms. So she was like, that's why. Now, here's the thing with these airlines. If you don't buy their airline ticket with them directly, when you have a situation where you miss your flight because of a storm or anything like that, they wouldn't rebook you. You have to buy a whole new ticket. Now, if I'd buy the ticket from them, they would have rebooked me. But because I didn't, I had to suck salt. So they tell me, so I get so upset. So the staff say, well, here's what. You could come back in the morning and probably the supervisor will help you out. And I say in the morning, I say, ma'am, I don't have no money to stay nowhere for the night. No food to eat or nothing. It's the airport I have to stay in. So then one of the other staff members say, here's what. Watch and see if she qualify for any free coupon or anything. But of course, because of my luck, me ain't qualify for nothing. So I just drag myself over and I go on and I sit down on a chair trying to figure out what is my life. So I went on Facebook and I post something. It was probably kind of vague. I can't remember what I post, but I had post something. And somebody, one of my friends, saw it. So he WhatsApped me and he said, what is going on with you? So I tell him what was going on. And then here what he tell me. He said, here what to do. Find a hotel, I'll pay you somewhere to sleep tonight. I was like, what? He said, yeah. I was shocked because I didn't expect nobody to do that for me, but he did it. And the hotel sent a car for me. I went to the hotel. I was so tired and hungry. I went, they had like cereal or whatever. I went and eat some cereal and I went to my room. It was a real nice room with a nice, comfortable bed. But I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing. I was just going over and over and over the events of the day. So I tried to get some sleep. Next morning, I gone to the airport. Going back at the counter, explain the story again. The girls and them call the supervisor to meet with me. But of course, my luck ran out. The supervisor was unfriendly. She's like, we can't help you. You need to buy a next ticket. Cost is $600 and something. I was like, what? Well, it's best that it stay in Honduras because the ticket, if I go to the next airport and buy a ticket to Trinidad, it would have cost me about 800 and something US dollars. So I've gone through all that trouble to land back in the States for it to be 600 and something US dollars. I was like, Lord. But I said, so I'm like, but how am I supposed to find that money? So my same friend who put me up in the hotel, he was WhatsApping me because he wanted to make sure everything was in order. He said, what happened? I tell him. He said, all right, I'm going to buy a ticket for you. Mr. Man jump he dollars. Mr. Man went and he buy the ticket for me. When I reach back by the counter now, the staff watching me surprised. What are you doing here? I say, yeah, one of my friends buy the ticket for me. So they're surprised. The supervisor stand up there still. Then she see my luggage. She say, you have to pay for your luggage. And I'm like, so why they didn't tell me that? She's like, go and get your friend and let him buy the ticket for you. Like, why does he have to get on like that? Anyway, so I tell my friend again, he jumpy money, he pay for the ticket, pay for my luggage. And listen, this friend of mine, I've always been so thankful and grateful for him. We don't talk that much right now, but I'll never forget what he do for me. So anyway, I reach on my flight, and about 6 hours later, home sweet home, I was back in Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, when I was coming off the plane, it took everything in me not to stoop down, bend down, and kiss that tarmac. That's to tell you, I was so relieved. Because this thing started Tuesday, right? And by this time, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it was Friday. You hear what I'm saying? Never again, boy. Never again. So I was finally home. And then, people who read my status was like, Afraid, what is going on? And I explained to them the shortened version. And everybody was like, what? That's like so crazy. It just sounded like something impossible. But it's not, because it happened. And some things that I really learned on this journey, it taught me the value of resilience, value of kindness, and how you can find community in strangers and also in people who you know. And it also taught me that to never panic in any situation that you may find that you wouldn't know about, or you're never sure how you could solve it. Sometimes it just takes making one step and everything would work itself out, even when the circumstances seem impossible. And that goes for everything in life, any single opportunity or any experience you would have in life. So thanks for being here with me. And if you enjoyed the story and it reminded you of something similar you went through, or it made you gasp, or you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more stories. And don't forget, tell me your crazy stories down below in the comment section now. All you're silent down there, all you ain't telling me nothing. Anyway, so take care of yourself. See you next time. Bye.